Alright, so we've got another standalone takeover. This time we're going to the Beaver State of Oregon, specifically Portland, at the Moda Center for first takeover, I should say, of this year, because we had Worlds Collide at Royal Rumble weekend instead, which I still did enjoy though, don't get me wrong, but I just want to get back into that kind of takeover mood. And man, what a card we have here. In addition to all championships being on the line, well, of course, and one of those championship matches are actually, happened as a result of or will happen, I should say. I'm a little off the cuff already. Whatever, it will happen because of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We've also got a hell of a street fight, too, between Broken Friendship, Deja Vu, anyone? And we have a grudge match that is sure as hell going to be delivered with two salad and ring workers. I'm Coffee Lover 239, and with me as always is Heathy. Say hi, Heathy.
Hey guys, good to be back.
It sure as hell is, man. And without further ado, let's get into the card. Our first match is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's Championship. And yes, they actually did go back to calling it Women's Championship. Oh, thank God. I guess they realized that's going to be too confusing and we can't really think of another name, and this whole mess is just ridiculous. So that is what it is, and this should be a really solid match. So on the January 15th episode of NXT, Bianca Belair won a Women's Battle Royal to earn an NXT Women's Championship match against Rhea Ripley at TakeOver Portland. That's really it for background information, but the thing, though, is, given what happened at the Royal Rumble, which those of you who saw the last podcast know I went there in person, and, well, I did enjoy the show. The one black mark I had against it was Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble when she really didn't need it. And while they're already seemingly still setting up Becky versus Baszler, they've kind of booked themselves into a corner with that. Why do I bring that up? Because that's leading us somewhere back here to NXT territory. Because they're going to do, from what I've heard, or quite possibly, do something that I don't think has ever been done for Royal Rumble women's ever, or any even Royal Rumble match in general. They were possibly going to have Charlotte challenge Rhea Ripley. So then looking at this match here, it's like you thinking, well shit, there's no way in hell Bianca's winning here. But then again, the rumor mill has been flying all over the over the place. I mean, it's possible that Rhea wins here and goes on to face Charlotte separately, either at TakeOver Tampa or Mania, or it could be a triple threat with all three. I don't know. I hate that they've booked themselves into this corner and kind of dragging NXT into this mess here. Who do you think's gonna win?
No, I think you're absolutely right. They have booked themselves into a corner of sorts, but what I always harken back to is the Royal Rumble, back when Bianca Belair came out at number 2 and eliminated 8 people and lasted about half an hour. And of course she got eliminated by Charlotte, so it was almost as if the seeds were getting planted by then already. So I'm glad that we're not really looking at Bianca as an afterthought as much as we were in the beginning. We're just starting to realise, oh, Bianca can really, she could genuinely win here. Although, I think Rhea's just too recent as NXT Women's Champion. I mean, you have her build up to Shayna Baszler, a woman who held the title for, I think, nearly a year, maybe even over, and had this
over a year.
This huge victory, the whole celebration. To cut that short after like a month or two in wouldn't really make much sense, if you're going to have such a huge celebration and then the shock factor maybe, but apart from that, I don't see how Bianca wins. I mean, I wouldn't mind a triple threat. I wouldn't mind Bianca Charlotte at WrestleMania, but the money is in Ripley Flair, so I'm going to go with Ripley to retain her.
Yeah, it is too early for Rhea Ripley to lose the belt. Yeah, it is, like I said, too early for Ripley to lose the belt. She's only held it for about 58 days. And after, what was a hell of a feud with Baszler to win the damn thing, to cut it short would be undermining that victory moment, that big celebration where all of them celebrating with the whole NXT fans in the ring with her, hoisting her up as she's dethroned, supposedly, the dominant Queen of Spades. And unfortunately, I guess there really isn't too much else to go into. I suppose Bianca is still someone, she's still pretty solid, to be honest, but I'm not sure when she'll get her time for a reign, possibly. I don't really see it anytime soon, so I'll go ahead and go with Rhea Ripley to retain as well. Next up on the card is Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Now, we were supposed to get this match actually a little while back at TakeOver War Games, but unfortunately Gargano got injured, and so they had to write him out for a bit. But now we're getting this match here, so it's all good. So, the bad blood between the two superstars has been brewing for months. Balor showed his true colors on the October 23rd edition of NXT on USA when he brutally attacked Johnny Gargano, capping off his assault by dropping Johnny Wrestling on the steel ramp with a 1916 DDT. Gargano was taken out of Full Sail University in an ambulance and suffered a neck injury as a result of Balor's heinous actions, which forced him to miss his first takeover since 2016. Ouch. Johnny Wrestling caught Balor off guard on the December 18th edition of NXT by making his surprise return during Balor's NXT Championship match with Adam Cole. The distraction cost Balor the title, and Gargano sent a message to his rival by bashing him with a steel chair, forcing Balor to retreat. On January 8th, Gargano made it clear that as long as there was breath in his body, he would do whatever it takes to get his hands on his rival. Balor responded by telling Gargano he could have his fight at TakeOver Portland if he made it that far. Needless to say, this, despite only being a simple more grudge feud, it's still been pretty interesting, considering the promo that Balor cut, kind of running down some of the things wrong with NXT, or what he thought at least was a bit of a mess with NXT, if I can find it here a little bit. Yeah, if I could see here. Yeah, and it actually, of course, he led to him turning heel, actually, for the first time in his WWE career. He basically, insulted the NXT roster by referring to them as all boys who can't take a beating, unquote, and specifically mentioning Gargano and Matt Riddle. Yeah, that was something, I tell you what. Anyways, yeah, him as a heel, loving Balor, like, sort of is going back to being the prince, loving what he's doing, it's pretty good. And of course, Gargano being the ever-cheery babyface. I am really, really looking forward to this match a whole lot. Heathie, who do you think's gonna win?
Oh, I think for sure it has potential to be match of the night, notwithstanding the main event, of course. Yeah, it's a perfect narrative. Johnny Gargano, Mr. NXT, the heart and soul of NXT. Had Finn Balor say on NXT this past week, "I have no heart," so maybe he wants to rip it out and match his heartless demeanor right here. But is that I think who's going to win? I know. I mean, I feel like, and this will feed into my main prediction later. We've seen Roderick Strong lose the North American Championship to Keith Lee. Mm-hmm. That's one of the 4 Undisputed Era group members without any titles. And I think it's going to be a domino effect for that group. Once you lose one, you're going to lose all of them slowly but surely. I don't think it's going to happen tonight on the show per se, but I feel like then you're going to pave the way for a face NXT champion, which I think will be Tommaso Ciampa, just putting that out there. And you're going to need a big, built-up new heel to go up against Ciampa for his first rivalry. And what better than Finn Balor? He's been a breath of fresh air ever since coming back from Monday Night Raw. He was such a wasted potential on the main roster, and now it feels like it's a bit too late, but he's definitely starting to realise it again. I don't know, Johnny is at heart and soul of NXT. There is no replacing him. He can be at the bottom of the card or at the top. He doesn't really look out of place. He's that sort of guy that you can put into whatever feud, and he will make it entertaining. So I don't think Johnny needs this win. Mr. TakeOver only missed one or two in the last 5 or so years. So I think this is the time to to let Finn shine. So unless they're going to pull some major swerve on us, which I think is very unlikely, I'm going to go with Balor to win and continue his momentum to a title push.
Yeah, looking at him here, you could tell they've really done, like, just improving Balor, like, giving him a better run here, like, and actually turning him heel, too, was also a really good move, considering stale, smiley babyface for him got old very fast, so this has definitely revitalized him. And with Ciampa pretty much being a face, I don't know if they'll ever go back to him being a heel. Like, after that video package of him recovering from his surgery, like, and him with his kid as well, like, oh man, just, oof. He was not at least anytime soon. So yeah, and looking at this too, while I would like for Gargano to have a more lengthier title reign like than he did previously, I do think it was a little bit underwhelming. Like, it was over as quickly as it started, if I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, I could say mostly that Balor would probably be important. Yeah, Gargano's at the bottom of the pecking order, and he was only like 5 days away from beating Sami Zayn's reign. Wah wah. So yeah, looking at this match though, it would probably make more sense for Balor to go over. So I'll go with Prince, with the Prince Finn Balor to win. Our next match is the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Browserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, or as Roderick Strong called them, Matthew Riddell and Peter Dune, in a tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. So on the December 18th, 2019 episode of NXT, it was announced that there would be a Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, like there always was. The tournament began on the January 8th episode of NXT. At Worlds Collide, it was revealed that the winners of the tournament would receive an NXT Tag Team Championship match at TakeOver Portland. The finals of the tournament took place on the January 29th episode of NXT, which saw the Browserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, defeat the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson, to earn a title match against the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, for the titles, or Redragon, or Fish and Chips, whatever the fuck you want to call them. So yeah, and remember how we were mentioning, how Healy mentioned earlier, that already that the prophecy is no longer fully fulfilled with Roderick Strong losing the North American Championship? Well, with the way things are going in NXT, I have a feeling the Undisputed Era, their time is almost running out, and they could all be potentially losing their titles. We could see here, like, between this and the other Undisputed Era member defending his title, Adam Cole, for the NXT champion, Adam Cole, I have a feeling if one of those two were to change hands, the tag team championships here would probably be more likely to change hands. Because we have TakeOver Tampa coming in about April. It's going to be WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be a bigger stage here. It'll be more important per se. And when we want the bigger title to have a more important change there. That said though, going back to the tag match here. Now normally, while you know, guys know me, you know I'm not exactly a big fan of makeshift tag teams. But I do have to say, I actually have been enjoying the work of the Browserweights, given the complete opposite personalities of Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Because it's almost like that classic sort of buddy cop formula, you know, like you've seen in the likes of films like Lethal Weapon and Rush Hour. How you have two guys with completely opposite personalities. But here, again, much like Rock and Sock in the past, it actually is working really well here with these two. And they've even had some other, I think they've done a little other videos, like some short skits of them and like traveling there and like some shenanigans. It's actually been kind of amusing. If you guys haven't given it a watch, I would heavily recommend you doing it. And I mean, for pretty good, plus awesome tag team bout, battling it out for the tag team titles, should be an awesome match. Heathy, who do you think's gonna win?
I mean, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne is the tag team I never knew I wanted. Every time they team up, they have this sort of undescribable chemistry. They hold together. Their vignettes, their little skits, just reminds me of the 90s show with references to a little bit of the MJ, which I'm not opposed against. But it's all a bit of fun, but all a bit of fun and games. But if you really look at this under a microscope, ever since Roderick Strong lost the NXT North America Championship, the Undisputed Era's golden armor has begun to slowly chip away. And I feel like it's not just going to stop here. Once you get into that motion of thinking, oh no, we've lost, where do we go from here? And I think, they put on a front, Undisputed Era, but I think we're talking kayfabe here. In their heads, I think they've already mentally lost the titles. I mean, once one of your teammates loses confidence, heads can drop, and it's a case of like their mentality and will. As you said, the WrestleMania weekend takeover Tampa, you'd expect there to be a huge title change. And while we're not saying the NXT Tag Team Championships aren't the ones we're talking about, aren't huge, if you're going to have a title change there, it's going to be an NXT title. And you can build that narrative up, Cole versus Ciampa 2, possibly. That, Roderick Strong lost the North American Championship all the way back in late January, early February. And the Undisputed Era team of Fish, lost at Tampa. The stronghold is starting to come loose. You've had this dominant team up for the last 2 years, especially in the last 1 year. When I say stronghold, I meant stronghold. It had a death grip on the black and yellow brand. So, yeah, I think that's, to your point, I think that's where the story is heading. I think we're finally seeing the demise of an empire. I think, and you know what? I wouldn't be against Riddle and Dunne losing and then feuding against each other. Dunne being a heel because he's just one of the best heels out there. But I'm gonna just take a bit of a gamble. I'm not too sure if you can call it a gamble based on what the theories are getting thrown out there. But I'm gonna go with new champs Riddle and Dunne to win the NXT Tag titles.
Yeah, looking at this, like I said, if one title set did have to change hands here between the Undisputed Era defending their gold or what they have left, I would have to say the tag titles would be in that here, would be the ones to change hands, like I said. But looking at this, yeah, the Era, it almost seems like they're almost inevitable for what would be a main roster call-up, which scares the ever-loving life out of me, because we know all the past track records, and that hasn't been exactly well, so especially when it comes to the likes of tag teams as well, given how they've treated the Authors of Pain and War Raiders, just absolutely just scares the ever-loving life out of me if the Era were to get called up. And I feel like one day it's just almost inevitable. But even then, they're still probably going to stick around for a little while longer. After this, of course, they're going to stick around after this damn pay-per-view. What am I saying? Yeah, but I am also going to take a gamble here because you want the prophecy. If you're going to have their demise, you wanted to build up slowly. It started off with the NXT North American Championship. Then next it's going to be the tag belts here. And then finally at TakeOver Tampa, the big one. Adam Cole does get dethroned. By who exactly? I don't know. But we'll see. And I'll go with the Browserweights on this one as well to win. And our next match is Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. Apologies for all the coughing going on. I'm still recovering from a bit of a cold here, but hopefully should lower the worst of it. So, yeah, it should be over and done with by the end of this week. Anyways, back to the match here. The Blackheart was forced to relinquish the title he called Goldie in March of 2019 when he underwent neck surgery. And it put the brakes on what would have been the final battle between Gargano and Ciampa, which would have probably been an excellent match. But hey, we still had Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, which was still an awesome match. Anyways, Ciampa was out of action for nearly 7 months, returning that October to confront Cole during NXT's live 2-hour debut on USA Network and assure him and Goldie, Daddy's home. Anyways, the road to this championship showdown has not been a direct one. Though Ciampa has said his life without the title has been empty, he has been laser focused on the man who currently has Goldie in his clutches. The Blackheart has led a team to victory over Cole's Undisputed Era in War Games, landing the final blow in the battle by driving the NXT champion through 2 tables with a devastating slam from the top of the cage. That was awesome. When Ciampa was revealed as Cole's challenger for TakeOver, the Blackhearts sought to ensure their bout was made official just between the two of them. He did that by taking out the rest of the Undisputed Era and setting up a table in the ring, which he later drove the NXT champion through when Cole protested the bout. My goodness, this has also been one hell of a feud as well. For the fact that Ciampa never officially was definitively lost the belt, he had to give it up because of his neck injury when he was temporarily brought up to the main roster alongside Johnny Gargano, even though they were both champions at the time, and they were feuding, no less, with their own trouble. But here, after that mess and Ciampa's subsequent face turn, assuring everyone that Daddy's home, and Goldie too, Ciampa has just been so determined to get the belt back, like saying, of course, that his life has felt empty without it, and that now it didn't matter who had Goldie. Ciampa was coming to get back Goldie, take his life back, if you will. And lo and behold, none other than the Undisputed Era's leader, Adam Cole, is the one that happens to be holding Goldie. So yeah, this has been a pretty damn good feud. I've been loving the build up to this. The promo work that's been going back between these two have been awesome. I've loved the segments, especially with Ciampa taking out the Era and driving Cole through a table. That was awesome. I kind of have to say this might probably be my most anticipated match of the show. Heaty, who do you think's gonna win?
I mean, part of me thinks now TakeOver Portland is the time to put the belt on Ciampa. I mean, I feel like we're getting to the point now where people could be genuinely salivating at the thought of Tommaso Ciampa as NXT champion. Not to say that Adam Cole's a bad champion, but no, it's been dangled above us like a golden carrot, like a tantalizing golden carrot, like a Goldie carrot for Tommaso Ciampa in this case. I mean, I think Ciampa's going to win the NXT Championship at some time. I mean, how can he not? It's just destiny.
It's
just
inevitable.
Feels like destiny. I know. The Undisputed Prophecy we've mentioned, it just seems absolutely hell bent on collapsing. It's like when you play a game, and let's say it's football or soccer or whatever. You're 3-0 up. The opponent scores and it's 3-1. You're still 3-1 ahead. You're still in control, but you still kind of feel at the same time you feel the control slip. It gets in your head. Oh no! If one goes in, what happens if the others go in? Bang, 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 and everything else just falls apart because that one domino fell at the start. So I don't know. I think you can. It's going to be such a moment when Ciampa wins. He's probably going to have a live sex celebration with the title. No matter how much he clutches it. So the only reason I'm debating who's winning this is, does Cole hold out for another month before losing, or is he just losing tonight? And maybe the tag titles are the ones that go at Tampa. But I'm going to go with my head here, not my heart. I'm thinking that Ciampa gets the big win at WrestleMania weekend. But for now, Adam Cole's going to weasel away to hold on that title for another month. So I'm going to go with Cole to retain.
Well, weasel away or another way. Weasel out or just barely get the edge out, as always seems to be the case. Or at least most of the case. Who even knows? I don't think those two would change hands in one night. Like, it would have to be one or the other. And I said the tag titles would be more likely here, too. But then again, the last time I went with my heart, it actually saved my ass in the long run. So, Now I'm very hesitant to do that again. But then again, last time we were kind of in a tight situation, if you know. But here, though, we're not really. But at the same time, does the Undisputed Era lose it all on one night and then have a story, perhaps, of them going back one last time? All of them try to seek back the gold WrestleMania weekend, TakeOver Tampa, and do all of them go down in a blaze of glory? Or does only one lose it and we have the final effect happen at TakeOver Tampa? You could go either way, is how I'm looking at it here. You really couldn't go wrong doing either solution. But I'm gonna follow your logic steps and, yeah, go with, actually go with, with, Cole retaining here. Yeah, that would probably be more sense, be a grander moment, so... Yeah, and besides, who knows if it'll actually be TakeOver Tampa, with rumors that there would be some NXT involvement in Mania. Oh wait, that might actually be women's title action, but well, you never know. You never know. They say anything can happen in the WWE. And, yeah, but for now, I'll go with Adam Cole to retain. And our next match is Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox in a street fight. So during the Women's War Games match, during the Women's War Games match at TakeOver War Games, Dakota Kai attacked her teammate Tegan Nox as Kai was coming out of the cage, thus turning heel. As a result, Kai was dismissed while Nox was ruled unable to compete, leaving Team Ripley at a 2-on-4, needing to be down 2 women, disadvantaged 2-on-4. And yet they still prevailed, which was insane. That was probably my favorite Women's War Game match. Or is it the only one that we've had so far? I think it may have been. I can't remember. Let's see. 2017, I was there for that. Yeah, because that was that 3-3 match. Authors of Pain, Sanity, Undisputed Era. 2018 was the War Raiders, Pete Dunne and Ricochet against Undisputed Era. Yeah, it's the only one that we've technically had, but it was a pretty good one. And on the January 15th episode of NXT, Kai would eliminate Nox, who returned after a short hiatus due to storyline injury during the Women's Battle Royal. Due to the animosity between Kai and Nox, the two faced each other in a match on the January 29th episode of NXT, which Nox won after attacking Kai with her knee brace. Later, a rematch between these two was scheduled and made as a street fight at TakeOver Portland. So yeah, one best friend turns on another in a crazy, violent attack. Deja vu, anyone from TakeOver Chicago? What was it? 2017, when this very same thing happened to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah, it is kind of deja vu. Although, this feud hasn't been quite as intense as that one has, at least not yet. It's still been pretty entertaining to see nonetheless. And seeing Dakota Kai turn heel, another interesting heel turn that has probably actually done more favors than probably I think some of us even realize here. I don't really have much else to say in the build-up, so Heaty, who do you think's gonna win?
Out of all the matches on this card, you look at this one and, your brain may be automatically wired because there's already title matches and there's already a women's title match. You think, this either, it's a pre-show or sleeper match. You cannot sleep on this match.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't a street fight, which I think, makes it 5 times better, it would still be a great match. I feel like WWE are trying to pull the wool over our eyes in the sense of, they're building up Dakota Kai as this big, strong heel, and, they seem to be putting all their stock in Kai. But I just noticed recently the WWE's Performance Center YouTube channel, they've been doing sort of a series on Tegan Nox documenting her return, after the injuries, also with the heel turn from Dakota Kai. I feel like, while they're really building up Dakota Kai as this absolutely ruthless SOB, I feel like, they've got a lot of stock in Tegan Nox, and I just can't see how. You can't have Kai lose twice. But then again, it's difficult. If I knew that this was just a mechanism to get Kai over and ascend her to the NXT title scene, NXT women's title scene, and Tegan Nox was just there as sort of like a placeholder, I would totally have gone for. I don't know. I feel like Tegan Nox can bounce back from a loss, because I feel like there's so much stock invested in them by WWE, like to dedicate a whole series to her on one of their YouTube channels, to see the TV times you get in, to see the character that's evoking out of her after the attack. I feel like Nox will be okay with a loss, and Kai may not be if she loses. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Kai to win, but it's pretty 50-50 to me.
Yeah, 50-50, and there's no crazy shenanigans here or whatever. Someone has to win, quite frankly, because either pinfall or submission. No other. Yeah, Ooh, hold on. Yeah, looking at this match, if I was to see who would have to go advance further along up the card to potentially get into the title picture, I'd probably have to go with Dakota Kai. With the heel turn they've given her, it's given her new life, essentially. Because when she was just a face, she was still just stuck in that long line of women who were just, boom, dominated by Baszler, boom, dominated by Baszler. And Nox probably can also bounce back from a bit of a loss as well. I mean, she technically already had a win over Kai, like we mentioned in the January 2019 episode. But to have Kai win, well, sometimes I guess you just can't avoid 50-50 booking here. But, whatever. It can kind of sort of work, and possibly a rubber match later down the line could really just cinch it further. But I'm also just going to go ahead and go with Dakota Kai as well. And our final match is Big Sweaty Man versus Big Sweaty Man. Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic for the NXT North American Championship. Well, if Vince was to watch one match from this show, it would probably be this one, because So, the two Titans have been on a collision course over the past year in a series of matches that have redefined what big men can do inside the squared circle. But in their series of 4 matches, each man holds one victory along with a pair of draws, leaving them and the NXT universe to wondering who is the superior superstar. The two rivals put their differences aside and joined forces to help Tommaso Ciampa in his war against the Undisputed Era, joining the Black Heart in victory inside War Games. Lee and Dijakovic soon gained a great deal of respect for each other after that. After Dijakovic's victory over Killian Dane on the February 5th edition of NXT, he was given the opportunity to challenge Lee. Will that respect go out the window when the NXT North American title is on the line? Hopefully not, but then again, these two, even though they've had like at least about 4 matches or so, they've all still been pretty solid. You see, this is how you do a series good. You started off well, but you kept us craving more at the right time, even though it may seem like a draw. But then, with a key victory, you really get us into it, quite frankly. But basically, this is everything that they've done right about a multi-series feud. And even though it's gone on for some time, unlike the infamous Corbin Reigns feud on the main roster, I don't feel dreaded with this. Then again, there's no real crazy shenanigans either. The points are simple at least, but not ridiculous and immature. It makes sense, and it makes for a great feud. And this match should also be really damn good as well. We've seen what these two can do in the ring. We've seen what they're capable of. And yet somehow every time they do, there's always a way, I guess, that they surprise us, quite frankly. Healy, who do you think's gonna win?
It for sure has been a long feud, but it's something that I am seriously ready for the rubber match. And you could say it is the ultimate rubber match. They have had 3 matches before. It is 1 win for Keith Lee, 1 win for Daisuke, and a draw. So, 1-1-1. This is the ultimate rubber match. Even with a draw here, you don't draw this match.
We can't. No,
that would just send the fans into meltdown.
absolutely.
Not a good way. Keith Lee, I think this is smart to have Dominic Dijakovic as his first defense of the title, mainly because you get certain guys, you put them in the ring, Rock and Austin, Michaels and Hart, Gilbert and Jericho. You have that innate chemistry when you step into the ring with 2 people, and Lee and Dijakovic, they just click. It's a match made in heaven, and I'm glad they're finally getting the big stage, a takeover to showcase it. Keith Lee's been on this wave of momentum since Survivor Series, making it to final 2 Roman in the men's elimination match. Stare down with Lesnar and also Strowman for a Rumble, and just this barrage of attacks against Undisputed Era, fighting back and then taking the title. Roderick Strong, remember, to become the North American champion. Keith Lee is on a roll of momentum right now. I don't see he can stop it. I don't think it's going to be this early. Even though I think this is just going to be one of their matches. Dare I say, it's just to get the crowd hot. I mean, it's going to be a great match.
Yeah.
And when I say get the crowd hot, they're after the match ends. So who do I think is going to win? I know who's going to win, but I'm going to honestly say I don't care. Just give me these guys every week for the next year, and I'll be down with it. But no, for whoever really it may concern, all the wild predictors out there, I'm going to satiate your appetite, and I'm going to pick Keith Lee. But to be honest, I'm just looking forward to watch Godzilla and King Kong destroy Tokyo.
Yeah, and you give it, though, every week for the next year. Who knows? You might actually get a little tired of it at some point, though. But, hey, at least NXT wouldn't go that far, unlike the main roster. Oh, the shade. Oh, the shade. Sorry, folks, but it's just easy when they just set themselves up for this. Yeah. Looking at this match, it's honestly too early indeed, like way too early for Keith Lee to lose, like the NXT North American title. Even like earlier than Rhea Ripley and her NXT Women's Champion reign. So for that, I'm mostly going to go with Keith Lee on this one. Should still be an excellent match, and yeah, really looking forward to it. And that's basically it, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say, TakeOver Portland is a pretty damn solid card, and what can I say? What can I say? Except we are probably going to absolutely love this show. I don't ever think there hasn't really been a bad TakeOver, to be honest, actually. And what can I say other than this one should hopefully be another solid entry in a solid line of NXT TakeOvers. I want to thank Heathie, as always, for being here with me. Say bye, Heathie. Oh, crap. He's temporarily muted and deafened at the moment. Ah, shit. Well, I'm going to have to siphon this edit in here, or maybe not. Well, what can I say, folks? And anyways, our next schedule, let's just say we're going to be hell of a busy for the next week. Oh, there you are, Heathie. Say bye.
Well, I mean, with 6 matches and a stellar card, this has potential to be one of the biggest and best takeovers of recent memory. So thanks for having me.
No problem, man. And we'll see you guys next time when we... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We are going back there. Yeah. Wish us luck for next time. Bye for now.